I'm delighted to hear tonight that Peggy and B. Adams are being honored for their generosity to the South Regional Healthcare Foundation and to all the other causes that we have in our community.
Well, Peggy and B don't like a lot of attention for what they do, but they're very giving people, and they've led by quiet example.
Peggy Adams has worked as a faithful volunteer at our Greenwood Soup Kitchen every Monday morning for 10 years. She's come and stood over the hot stove in the soup kitchen and helped prepare 10 to 12 gallons of homemade soup. Some say it's the best soup in town.
Their most recent engagement has been in our 2020 campaign, which the hospital is using to raise funds for the emergency department, the women's birth center, and then the ambulatory surgical component of the hospital. Those facilities are outdated, and through the generosity of people like B and Peggy Adams, we're able to go into those spaces, upgrade those facilities to make them current with today's standard of health care. Their generosity is evident in the better outcomes, the improved health care that we're allowed to offer in our community that allows people to prevent or reduce travel to other locations like a Greenville or a Charleston or Atlanta, because they get to stay here in Greenwood and receive that care. So they're not spending hours or weekends away from their family at home.
Peggy and B are true conservationists, and they want to leave the land better than they found it. With the help of the Palmetto Conservation Foundation, they organized the Upper Savannah Land Trust in the year 2000, and it was set up to serve 8 counties in the Piedmont. And they were the only staff for the first 10 years, and they did all of that on a volunteer basis. They put a lot of themselves into it. And their credibility contributed to the success of the Upper Savannah Land Trust. It started out in the year 2000 with a donation of a 33-acre conservation easement. And now the Upper Savannah Land Trust boasts over 50,000 acres of farms, forests, open spaces, and special places that are conserved for future generations.
Some of you maybe have noticed that Peggy's right arm is a little more developed than her left. That's because after she cooks the soup, prepares the soup, she stands there and stirs and stirs and stirs some more, just to make sure none of that soup burns on the bottom of this big gigungous pot that she's cooking in, and that flavor seeps into the rest of the soup. And that's long after everybody else has lost interest and has gone on to something else. And then when it's time to serve, Peggy is the head of our serving line. She serves the soup that she has prepared. And every bowl that is delivered to the more than 100 guests that we serve every day is delivered with that famous smile and greeting. Every one of those 100 guests gets that greeting. And then when it's time to clean up, guess who's standing over the sink and basically doing a job that nobody else wants to do? You can always count on Peggy.
They've been recognized by the conservation community, even though they have not sought attention. But in 2009, they were recognized for their conservation efforts by the BMW Manufacturing Company, and with the presentation of the BMW Conservation Award.
It's the generosity of Peggy and B that have allowed improved health care for our community, have allowed for new service lines, new technology, and additional staffing to occur that allows our health care for our community, for our Lakelands region, to be improved.
Warm, caring, friendly, smart, sensible, helpful, unpretentious, kind, and an overall classy lady. Any of us would be proud to have a few of these attributes. Peggy Adams has them all.
And I think it's just very fitting that Peggy and Bee recognized in their home community for all that they have contributed, and I think they're very deserving of this award.
It's a well-deserved honor, and I'm excited for them, and I'm excited for Greenwood for having them as a family member in our community.
We're all blessed to be able to call Peggy a friend, and certainly Greenwood is a much better place to live because of her presence. Thank you, Peggy. We love you.